This week I got a chapter done that was a very sketchy draft. And that's, I think, saying a lot because running the writing retreat is a little different than being the writing retreat participant. But I did a pretty good job of making sure that I got my writing time in. And I have one more writing session this morning, before everybody leaves. And I'm really excited about that because I just have the conclusion of my chapter left to go. So, um, okay. So today we're talking about writing community, and this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm so glad to be sharing it with you. I'm going to talk about how you might form your own writing community, and then I'm going to tell you about my writing community, which you are invited officially to join. If you are joining me live, go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments, so I can say your name and greet you. Or if you are not joining live, also, I can always take questions in the comments, and I do make sure I go into the comments and answer every question. So writing community. First of all, why would you want to have a writing community? Well, it helps to have other people around you, either virtually or in person, who are interested in, developing their writing practice and talking about writing and getting the writing done. I follow a podcast of two women writers called #MWriting, and they have like a WhatsApp group for the two of them and another author, and they text each other their writing goals. They check in. They use this phrase sticker, like they give themselves a sticker if they meet their writing goal for the day, and so they'll just jump in the chat and write sticker. And that kind of other people that you can talk to your writing about, other people that kind of have your back, can be the difference between you maintaining a writing practice, an academic writing practice in 2019, and you starting off 2019 with all the best intentions, but letting writing fall to the bottom of your list for the rest of the year. So, you can form a writing community by getting together really with anybody, anywhere. If you have colleagues at other universities, and actually let me talk for a second about the benefit of getting together with people who aren't at your university. So the benefit there is that those people are not entwined in your university's bad juju. They don't know your department's politics. They are kind of free of those burdens that we carry around, and toxicity and bullies and those kinds of things. So to get out of your department and connect with other people, I think is really valuable. However, you can do that live as well. I mean, you can definitely, you can make a writing group on your campus, and all you would need is some kind of space to get together, and that could be a conference room in somebody's department that's not being used. It could be a room in the library. It could be a lounge. It could be somebody's office if it's big enough to fit some chairs in, but really you just need a space to get together and write. So there's benefits to both. I mean, there's definitely something to be said by writing in person with other people, which on this writing retreat, I've been realizing how lovely that is. But you can also get together virtually. So you can use Zoom, which is what we do in my writing community. So that support, that kind of attention to craft, and the honoring of the writing and the giving it time and space is something that will help develop your practice, and that's something that a writing community can give you. So I'm going to talk about some characteristics of a good writing community. So if you're going to form your own, these are things you want to think about, and these are all characteristics of the Academic Women's Writing Collective, which is my writing community that you can join for $39 a month, the cost of going out to dinner one night during the month. And I'm going to be talking about that a little more at the end of the video, but these characteristics all apply to the Academic Women's Writing Collective. So number one is diversity. I think it really helps to have diversity of perspective, diversity of fields, so people getting together are from maybe different fields and different parts of your campus, or, do different things than you. I think there's a lot of value in having people who approach academic writing a little bit differently near each other and talking about craft, because you learn so much from how other people do it. And you can take things like this during this retreat. One of the women who is writing a book, and she is in English, that's her field. She's like, oh, I found this thing called the snowflake method, and it's a method that fiction writers can use, but any writer can use it. And it has helped all of us to think about planning our writing. And that's something that, like, if I had just stayed with people in the linguistics corner who don't write books, linguists write books too, but maybe there's more of an article field, maybe I wouldn't have heard of that. And it is a really, really helpful tool. So Google it. So diversity can be a really great aspect of a writing community. Consistency. So you really do have to have like commitment to each other. If you're going to meet in person together, you need to have that consistency of time, whether it's weekly or monthly. You do need to have consistency. So that means you have to have people who are committed, that are committed all the way through the semester. And this is something to talk about at the beginning of your formation of the group, that this is we're going to do it no matter what group. We're going to show up once a week, even when it's hard. I think that consistency is really important, because when you're doing a writing group, you could be, but you're not necessarily talking about writing for 6 hours a day for 3 days a week, but maybe just writing 1 or 2 hours a day. And that is a level of consistency that can be maintained throughout grading and throughout the tough times of the semester. Although if you don't, also just forgive yourself. And when that's done, move on and get back on the bandwagon, So consistency is really important. In the Academic Women's Writing Collective, we have weekly co-writing sessions, and we have them right now on Mondays. We're going to be adding a Tuesday early morning my time session, which will be helpful to the people in Europe and the people who wake up early on the East Coast of North America. But we have times like kind of throughout the day that are helpful, or that people get together for co-writing, and we have kind of set in stone consistent ones for on Mondays, and we're adding the Tuesday morning, and those happen every week, so people know that they can log in and write with somebody at that time every week. It's very, very consistent, and since we have 130 some people in the group, they really like it. It's really it's something that people can count on, and there's always another person in there. So consistency is really important. The next thing that's important is camaraderie. Okay, so having your group be full of other people who get you. So like that's why it's lovely to be in a writing group with other academic women, because I really feel like we get each other. We all are struggling through very similar problems, and when a unique problem comes up, we are uniquely suited to help the other person solve that problem. And we do that in my community in a social network site called Mighty Networks, because we decided as a community that we didn't want to be doing this on Facebook. And I'm going to show that to you at the end of the video. But basically, it's a little app on your phone, or you can access it through a browser, and it has a feed just like Facebook, but no ads or distraction-y things, just talking about writing and doing writing and doing this academic thing, right? So camaraderie, I think, is really, really important. Honesty is another important thing. So you want somebody who can do kind of tough love, and you want people who are going to be honest with each other about their writing. And when they stop doing what they said they were going to do, that they can honestly say, look, I just couldn't get it done. And everybody will say, that's okay. We support you in getting back on track. And that is definitely a characteristic of the Academic Women's Writing Collective. It is a no guilt group. It is a supportive group, and it's created with those things in mind deliberately. Those are the people we're attracting to the group by putting out into the world that it is for support and for giving love to your writing and for loving yourself through it, whether you're doing it well or not. So honesty is really important. And that relates also to the last one that I have for you, which is forgiveness. So you also want to be in a group that supports you when you're doing great and also supports you when you're doing crappily. And you know, I really believe in kind of forgive yourself, you know, like I don't think you have to forgive, but people feel like, you know, I screwed up and I said I was going to, you know, write for this amount of time every week at this time and I didn't, or I was going to do this number of words or whatever. You know, like those guilty feelings never get your writing to be any better. So so we don't need those, but we still have them. And so practicing self-forgiveness is really, really important. So those are my tips for forming a writing community. I think it's a game changer for people and their writing. And I want to talk to you now a little bit about the community that I formed because I wanted to have a writing community and because I felt like in academia, women were not, didn't have access to writing community on their campuses. Some people do. And some people have been able to form a consistent writing community. It's a helicopter flying by. Consistent writing community outside, you know, by themselves. And I think that that's fantastic. And I would love for, you know, if you would like to be supported in the Academic Women's Writing Collective, there are ways that you could bring your whole writing group in and form a subgroup inside and still get all the training and support and co-writing that we have. So everybody is really invited. But if you feel kind of alone and isolated and like nobody else gets what you're doing or cares, then the Academic Women's Writing Roadmap is definitely, the Academic Women's Writing Collective is definitely a place where you can connect with other women writers who are doing the kind of writing that you're doing. So I'm going to share, let's see if I can share my screen. I'm using a thing. How about that? Does that share my screen? Yes. Okay, so maybe not. Okay, cancel that. As long as you can still hear me, let me know. Give me a like or something. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. So here we go. So if you click through to the link that I'm going to put in the chat or in the description, you're going to see you'll get bumped to the Academic Women's Writing Collective registration page. And I just want to walk you through a little bit of it so you can see what is all included. So here I talk a little bit about why you might want to join and what we give you, right? A no judgment group of women, a picture of it. And then here when I detail what we do. We do monthly workshops, okay? So those are half an hour of content and half an hour of questions once a month about topics that come up in the group. So things that we've talked about have been managing co-author relationships, doing the lit review. This month we're going to be talking about accountability and how to form accountability form accountability groups because we do that inside the collective. But